the MMA world, and I've seen it.
Yeah.
They're convinced. So many podcasts, they're like, Ben Askren is going to mop the floor with Jake Paul.
These morons.
And we've got one at this table.
I don't think he's going to mop the floor with them.
Yeah, no, but you put money on it.
I love hearing different perspectives. Because you give me something I might not have thought about, so I'm actually interested to hear.
Do you want to? I think everyone's made the case for Jake Paul before, so I feel like it's time.
You put me on the spot.
Yeah, you get.
Yeah, no, this is good. This is really
no,
good.
I don't think people. I'm happy to talk about it, but
It's an interesting one because everyone's sort of talking about. He goes. He fights Deji, right? An amateur.
Yeah.
Then he goes up to professional.
Yeah.
And he fights.
He fought Gib.
Yeah.
Don't undersell Deji, by the way. It was a pretty impressive fight that he had. Though.
It was better than I thought it was going to be, I tell you that. It was better than I thought.
An amateur fight, new fighters,
No,
right?
of course.
Really new fighters. Then he goes and fights Gib. Good performance against Gib.
Then
Good
Nate.
fun. And then knocks out Nate Robinson, who's not a boxer.
Right.
They could have put, Michael Jordan in there with him. He probably
No,
didn't.
Michael Jordan's got a better.
He might have had a better chance, to be fair. Yeah.
But the difference here is that he just hasn't been tested by a real combat athlete. Not to say that Ben Askren is an elite level striker, but he is a combat athlete. So he has been hit. And the crazy thing about how the boxing world or the YouTube world is
He definitely got hit by Masvidal, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But everyone's going to get knocked out in that scenario. There is you put anyone's head in that scenario,
that's fair.
you're going to get KO'd by Masvidal.
He did specifically put his head.
Exactly.
no, but I hear what you're saying.
No, I do hear it.
What we're talking about is someone who, when Jake Paul is hitting them, this ain't something that's new to him in the regards of Deji Gibb and Nate Robinson. This is someone who's taking punches off some of the baddest motherfuckers
Go
on the
back
planet.
and watch his fight with Robbie Lawler, and go watch the shots that Askren took from Robbie Lawler with 4-ounce gloves.
Yeah.
It is disgusting the amount of damage that he's taken in that fight. So what I'm really interested in, what a lot of mixed martial arts fans are interested with this fight, is what happens when Jake Paul hits Ben Askren in the face and he doesn't knock him out, and it goes past round 1, it goes past round 2, and then he starts to get tired because he's emptied the tank. What happens in that 5th, in that 6th, in that 7th?
That is obviously a possibility and a great scenario to try and envision, because it could happen. But I feel like, from what you've just told me, I feel like maybe instead of Ben Askren getting knocked out, you just get stopped on his feet instead, and the referee will jump in if a certain amount of punches are thrown. But why I give Jake the credit is not because of his opponents, because I can agree with you 100% on his opponents. It's the sparring. He's sparring with people that are world level. You know, his main sparring partner is someone who used to be signed to Mayweather Promotions, J. Leon Love, who was one of the star attractions of the promotions at the time, fought for a world title just under 2 years ago. And this is someone that's in his camp every day. So I'm thinking, if you're sparring with someone like that every day, and you're sparring John Pascal, who is a world champion, light heavyweight world champion, Hasim Rahman Jr., who's someone I would fight in an actual fight, that means that the sparring you're going up against is better than Ben Askren.
Also, BJ Flores, his coach, I listened.
He's a good. He
listened to an interview with
boxing.
him, and after that one interview, I was like, Jake Paul's winning this, because this motherfucker knows boxing.
He knows boxing, and sometimes you can see Jake talking, and he just takes a quick look over at BJ, and through that signal or that sign, he will change how he's talking in the interview and stuff. So he respects his coach, which is huge, and his coach knows how to protect him as well.
BJ basically said in this interview, he was like, I'm putting him in there with every single style you can imagine, so that every day there's something new coming at him. And I think the thing that MMA fans are going to be shocked by is the reason Ben Askren has been able to, because I keep hearing the same thing over and over and over in these all these different interviews of, but he's not going to box with him. He's going to turn into a fight. Guess what? I heard that with McGregor. You fooled me once. You ain't fooling me again. Right? It didn't work on Mayweather. And it ain't going to work on Jake Paul, because the one thing that Ben Askren's always gone to in his whole career is the wrestling. The minute... And part of the reason why he was able to withstand those punches from Robbie Lawler is because it was crazy, it was wild. He wasn't having to stay in that one position and
take punches.
And that is... And I think MMA, some of these people I've seen... And not yourself, because you're an open-minded guy, but I watched Mike Swick, and he was so This is an old school guy who was on the Ultimate Fighter 1.
Yeah, tall guy.
All respect, but he was so convinced, like, there is no chance. And I could say, I was like, oh, you're in for a fucking wake-up call,
it's going to be
Jake Paul is going to sleep Ben Askren. It might not be a complete flatline,
but he's going to...
Jake Paul's not, like, he's finishing him because the gas tank and the pressure, if you actually look at every single fight Jake Paul has had, aside from Deji, because that was quite one-sided, despite Deji doing better than what people thought, everyone's run at him, everyone's pressured him, everyone's come after him. And if Jake Paul is cold-blooded, he's actually calm as fuck. I'm not saying he's the best boxer ever, but there's one thing he doesn't do. He doesn't choke.
No, he doesn't.
He's fucking reptilian, this guy.
And no one's forced him to either, you know?
Yeah.
But the point is that he hasn't. I don't feel like he's been in a situation where someone's forced him out, which I guess what you were saying.
And one other thing is
but the competition as well.
Yeah. The competition is completely different, and I take the point of that. But Ben Askren is literally waking up out of bed one day and going, "Oh, I got an offer for £500,000 to fight Jake Paul. I better find a boxing coach. I better find sparring partners." Jake Paul is hitting the ground running. He's running.
How much of that team though that you're mentioning there are yes men? They're putting him into this environment, in a simulated environment. And they're saying, he's swimming. He's doing great there, buddy. But like the fact is, you can put if I trained for 3 years and I had all the same team, I had all the same money, do I think that I could beat Ben Askren 3 years into my boxing
How long ago was Ben Askren Robbie Lawler? How long?
And I take your point, Tom, and that is why when this happens, people are going to have to respect Jake Paul. Because 3 years in, you're knocking out or finishing a boxing, an MMA champion in a boxing fight. That is going to deserve credit, and that is why it's the perfect opponent for him.
It's such a perfect opponent.
We're going to find out, can he take pressure? Because if we're watching the dirty boxing that Ben's been practicing in his sparring,
most of it's illegal.
He's going to try and rough Jake up, and it's going to be difficult. And what he's going to do is he's going to find a stiff jab in his face, and he's going to realise that Jake Paul can fight going backwards, because we've already seen that.
But and that's the interesting thing about Jake Paul as well, because obviously we see him on Instagram, we see his videos. He's extravagant. He loves money. That's his lifestyle. But is he someone who can walk through the fire when the shit gets tough?
That's what we need to see.
And that's what I'm really fascinated with Ben Askren.
Yeah.
If he can't knock him out, and the referee doesn't stop it on the feet, can he walk through the fire when he's tired and he's breathing out of his arse?
So there's a couple of things about the fire. How bad is the fire going to be? Well, we've got Ben Askren, who is not as big as Jake.
No.
Is openly admitted he doesn't hit hard. It's not sounding good so far. Just had a hip replacement. Still not sounding great. So the fire to me, I actually think,
quite a mild one.
This might
smouldering.
This might seem mental.
Like cooking.
But
Some ashes.
Ben Askren may be a hell of a fighter. But in that boxing ring, Ben Askren ain't going to generate the same power that Nate Robinson did.
No.
And Nate Robinson didn't phase him one bit. So this might be hard one.
Nate Robinson did throw a punch, though, did he?
I mean, he actually did. He did.
Not great ones, but they were punches.
I'm certainly not giving Nate too much credit here, but I'm just saying, like, I think a lot of people are going to wake up to the reality that Jake is actually taking this so seriously, and I mean, I'd put a lot of money down on Jake. I'm
almost certain.
This isn't disrespecting Ben, because if this was an MMA fight, we all know the way it's going. But Jake Paul hits hard. There's a reason why he's knocking out so many sparring partners. If you look at all the other YouTube fighters,
is he though? Is he knocking out these world champions that he's brought into the camp?
So who is one of the most respected coaches in MMA? Javier of AKA. Yeah. He said, "This is a serious kid, and I respect the knockouts, because in all my time of training fighters, I ain't seen someone drop people like Jake Paul so quickly. He's picked it up really quick. If you look at the other YouTube fighters, they fought for rounds on rounds on rounds. With Jake, he's averaging dropping someone 3 times per round right now. Now, I know they're not great guys, but the power difference alone, even if they were the same level, which they're not, Jake Paul is a better boxer than Ben. The power alone for Jake would probably finish the fight.
I'm looking forward to seeing the power of Jake Paul land onto someone like Askren and see what that's the fascinating thing about it.
Interesting.
Because when Askren can't turn it into a tornado where he's trying to grab a hold of the legs and he has to stand up, it's going to be hard, in my opinion.
I think here what you've got is, when you look at the sort of MMA thing, are you ready with the bingo cards, yeah, Lawrence? So what I hear a lot of MMA experts doing is confirmation bias. First and foremost, to rate Jake Paul as a dick. That's the one thing that blinds people to his actually skill set. It is. Jake Paul he's a bit of a tosser, all right? But put that to the side, as in he grates on you. You cannot deny, as I spoke to you last time, that he has got technical ability, he's got power, he's got composure, he's got patience. That is there. What I do think's happening with Ben Askren as well is we're looking at recency bias. So recency, well, how did he fare against Robbie Lawler? Okay, when was that fight? How long ago was it?
Couple of years.
A couple of years. So what we do through our heuristic biases is we'll pin our stuff. That's why I made the prediction on Fury Wilder. Is that all that people were looking at was Wilder's right hand? They were only seeing the crescent, they weren't seeing the whole of the moon. To paraphrase one of my songs. Not my song, by the way, just one of my favourite songs. Okay. And I think that's what the MMA...
Call them one of your favourite songs.
He hasn't spoken to people in a while. Give him a break.
That's my
guitar. You shouldn't have told us that, because that's going to be the running.
But I mean, that's what you've got there, though, is that a lot of the MMA community are potentially negating Jake Paul because he's a dick. No one really likes him. That's skewing your bias. And we're also looking at the fact that, what Ben Askren done a couple of years ago when it was, like Viddal made before, you made some really salient points that actually opened our eyes to more of the data that's available to select. I think it's going to be much more balanced than a lot of people are saying.
Can I add to that as well? I think...
Speaking of the balance, sorry, Lawrence. The vote is in from the audience. And what was it? 51% Askren, 49% Jake right now.
Yeah.
No.
Interesting. 51% of you are probably wrong.
I mean, that's just my opinion. But that's why it's worth watching.
That is
the reason
most
they've created something people
opinion.
want to... Do you know what's mental? I've just taken that point away, sorry.
No, it's interesting.
But the Mayweather-Logan thing was all... Now no one gives a fuck. This is actually more interesting for most people.
Yeah, because we know, because it's guaranteed it's happening. We've been given a date, we know.
we're going to get excited.
We've got something to actually look forward to. It's kind of like, that one's just like, it will happen. Yeah. But with Showtime involved in that's going to be huge. Because they're all access... their all access shows do really well, and the way they promote their fights do really well. So I think that'd be good.
And by the way, Tom, I didn't mean to shut you down because I fully take on point. I understand. Like I do. Ben Askren's career is unbelievable, and the idea of a YouTuber beating a UFC fighter is mental. Yeah. But the thing, the X factor in this is Jake's actually kind of good. That's the thing that but the competition still leaves the question mark, and that's what we're going to get the answer to now, isn't it?
This is just a warning.